what happened down in Tucson. This could be a new rivalry in the Pac-12. Not as good as the one we're going to see coming up, though, with Gonzaga and St. Mary's. That's become a really big rivalry out west in the West Coast Conference. It really seems to come down between those two teams. How do you see this playing out tonight? Well, to be a rival, you need both teams, obviously, to win some of these games, and St. Mary's has done that, where they were able to beat Gonzaga in last season's WCC tournament final in overtime. For St. Mary's to win this game, they've got to rattle the Zags. And talking to Mark Few earlier this evening, he knows it's a cracker box gym at McKeon Pavilion. They've had issues there before. They've got the big men like Olynyk to dominate inside, or at least be much more of a factor. Their guard play has to obviously watch those ball screens, is what he told me. Keep Matthew Dellavedova out of the lane as much as possible. Not an easy task. All right, just a few seconds here. Does Dellavedova and the Gales, do they need to win tonight in order to get an at-large berth into the NCAA tournament, either tonight or maybe get some other big win for the rest of the year? Well, they've got this home game and they've got Creighton at home. I think they've got to at least get one of those two, because if they play Gonzaga, it's going to be for the WCC tournament title if they play them a third time. All right, Dave Fleming, Fran Fraschilla with the call at the Kennel. The Gales and the Zags, West Coast Conference rivalry renewed right here on ESPN2. Enjoy the game. We'll see you at the half.
You're watching ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Here's a Valentine's Day gift for hoops fans like you. The Bulldogs of Gonzaga are leading the way and don't have a loss during West Coast Conference play. But the St. Mary's Gales have the Zags in their sights and are led by an Aussie who scores left and right. So if it's passion, emotion, and no love lost you seek, you're in the right place because it's Rivalry Week. Now gather your loved ones, family, and friends. It's a Thursday night showcase on ESPN. Welcome to our Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's. Tonight, a matchup of the top two teams of the West Coast Conference. Number 5 Gonzaga on the road to take on the St. Mary's Gales. Here are the standings of the WCC, as has been the case for the last many years. These are the top two. Zags undefeated in West Coast Conference play. St. Mary's right behind them at 10-1. And hi, everyone. Dave Fleming alongside Fran Fraschilla here at McEwen Pavilion. The Zags are about to be introduced, so you hear the boos. I got the tie loose already. It's about 90 degrees in here. The students are on top of us. It's loud. It's rocking. This is a great rivalry.
You know, I started the week in Lawrence, Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse, but I couldn't wait, Dave, to get to McEwen Pavilion because I know what's at stake in the West Coast Conference. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, this is the game of the year in league play. This may well decide the conference championship. We see great stars on the court here tonight, including a player, Fran, you know very well, a guy whose game you're a fan of. Matthew Dellavedova, the point guard for St. Mary's, may be the best in the country at running the pick and roll, and that particular play, Fran, will be a huge part of this game.
Well, it's 80% of St. Mary's offense. And let me explain to you, when I talk pick and roll, there's 3 levels of point guards in pick and roll. At level 1, it's the guy that's only concerned with his own man and the pressure that's put on him. That is an average pick and roll guy, not going to get a lot done. The good pick and roll player is the guy that's not worried about his man, but he's worried about the screener's man. That's a little bit better. But the great ones are the level 3 pick and roll guys, the Nashes, the Chris Pauls. They're not worried about their man or the screener's man. They're going to pick out of those other 3 defenders the open man. That's what Matthew Dellavedova does best.
So it's going to be a huge part of the challenge of the game for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. How do you slow down that pick and roll play? How do you stop Dellavedova? Here's the Zags starting lineup. 5th-ranked team of the country, 23-2 overall. Pangos and Bell in the backcourt. Mike Hart, sort of a hustle player, glue guy. Elias Harrison, Kelly Olynyk down low, both having huge years for an excellent Gonzaga team. On the other side of things, St. Mary's 21-4 overall, 10-1. That one loss, a very close game up in Spokane earlier this year. Dellavedova and Holt in the backcourt along with Jordan Page, and then Mitchell Young and Brad Waldo have been a nice combination down low for the Gales of St. Mary's. There is the senior Matthew Dellavedova, who is truly one of the best point guards in all of college basketball. And it's not just the pick and roll that he does well.
No, he's a great team leader. I've been watching him since 2009. when he represented Australia in the Under-19 World Championships in New Zealand.
As he gets introduced now in front of this raucous crowd in Moraga. Dellavedova's been through a lot of these battles. These two teams, if you include tonight's game, they have met 14 times in the last 5 years. So that means basically the two regular season games every year they've met in the championship game of the West Coast Conference Tournament. Could well be that they'll meet there again this season.
Well, you know this. Randy Bennett lost 19 of the first 22 games as he built St. Mary's. Gonzaga has been the standard in this conference, and particularly for St. Mary's. And Randy Bennett has used the Zag's success to build this program.
Now, for a long time in the WCC, Gonzaga didn't have a rival that could really. They had rivals. The games were spirited, but who could really challenge Gonzaga at the top of this league. That has changed with the emergence of this St. Mary's program. The teams have split the last 8 meetings. Both of these teams have combined to win every regular season title since 2000. The all-time series record heavily in favor of the Zags. But lately, these games have been close. They've been high scoring. They have been spirited. And the head coach of the Zags, his 14th year, very few better in the business than Mark Few.
Right now, the winningest active coach in college basketball. Number 1, Roy Williams. Number 2, Brad Stevens. Number 3. Remarkable consistency for Gonzaga basketball.
And maybe the best team he's had in Spokane. There's some people who are starting to believe that as the Zags have rolled along. Great non-conference schedule for Gonzaga again. And there is Randy Bennett, the guy Fran was just talking about, who totally rebuilt this St. Mary's program into a power in the WCC. And you can see that Randy's a little fired up for the start of this game.
2 wins in the year before he got here. 9 his first year. It's been an upward trajectory ever since.
So here we go, Kelly Olynyk, who is playing at a very high level. And Brad Waldo will jump center underway from historic McEwen Pavilion. And Gonzaga has the first possession of the game.
Now, last time Matthew Dellavedova played center field off Mike Hart. He's going to roam, try to help where he can.
He's matched up with Hart here, who is not much of a scorer. Does a lot of things well for the Zags. Olynyk to the basket, rejected by Brad Waldo. Dellavedova will wait for his teammates. There was a pile underneath the basket after that last play.
This is what Gonzaga did up at Spokane. They double-teamed hard on Dellavedova.
Young was open as the defense was rotating around. That's the first bucket of the game.
Part of the reason they rotated was because Dellavedova stretched them side to side.
It'll be interesting to see the way that these two coaches play off of that first matchup that was so spirited earlier this year. Here's Gary Bell Jr. Olynyk will shoot from the outside, and he will make. That's a long 2. Foot was on the line.
Isn't that amazing? Kelly Olynyk's not going to make a lot out there, but fairly accurate anyway. 2 for 8 now, 3 for 9.
First minute plus from Moraga. Top 2 teams in the West Coast Conference. Maybe the top rivalry these days out west in college basketball, these two. Some of that screen and roll action. Dellavedova found Mitchell Young, who had the ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay St. Mary's ball.
What Gonzaga is doing right now is they're trapping the screen and roll. Think of it as a quarterback in football who's getting blitzed and has got to make the hot read and the dump off. They did this up in Spokane relatively effectively.
6 on the shot clock. Waldo has to realize it, and I'm not sure he does. Page is going to have to shoot near midcourt and just heaves it up there. That'll be out of bounds.
Now, that was a wasted possession. I was a little surprised Dellavedova didn't come back for that ball after he inbounded it.
Randy Bennett was upset with Michael Reed, the official, who was sort of in the way there, but that wasn't entirely what went wrong for the Gales that time. Kevin Pangos, outstanding sophomore point guard in his own right, feeds Olynyk. Up and under move for Kelly Olynyk, who's got the first 2 buckets for the Zags.
No question Gonzaga is going to try to go inside on Waldo and Young. This is not a deep front line, and that's a strength of Gonzaga's.
That's an offensive foul.
That's the reason Mike Hart starts for this team. A terrific defender. Watch him get... That's close, but I like the fact that he tries to pick up a cheap one early. Even if that was a foul on Hart, just to take the chance to try to get one on Dellavedova early was a good play.
A very smart player and a leader for this Gonzaga team. Here's Pangos, who's really been shooting the ball well. A little runner, no good. Olynyk there to finish.
How about Kelly Olynyk? What a season he's had, Dave. We watched him in November and December, and he has not let up at all.
He has come to play here tonight. He commits a foul, though, helping on that screen and roll play.
Well, you see Olynyk now. Pangos will shoot the little floater. Gets in that high paint area. No one checks Olynyk out. He gets right to the rim. Came in shooting 65% from the field.
And look at the numbers from the first meeting between these two. He will come out. That was his first personal foul, but he comes out of the game, at least momentarily. A 31-point performance, and it was a monster performance in January against the Gales.
You know what I like about Mark Few getting Olynyk out right now? This game is so supercharged. The officials are going to call it close the first 3 or 4 minutes. So why worry about picking up a second one when you have that depth with Dower and Karnowski?
I think it's a good point. A part of the challenge of this game is just getting through these first few minutes. What a nice move by Dellavedova.
Dower steps out. Dellavedova split it.
And then nailed the shot. So Gonzaga with the ball up 2. And Dower, not quite the varied offensive game of Olynyk, but another guy who can fill it up.
Yeah, he can, but he's also not a great defender. We saw it on that play.
Here's Bell on the attack. He finds Hart. They just left him wide open. He hits the 3.
How about Mike Hart? That's 6 for 9 on the season. You talk about a judicious use of the three-point line.
Well, Levesque off the bench. He's played very well for St. Mary's. And the junior Jordan Page handling on the perimeter. Stephen Holt off the iron. Tip up, no good. Rebound, Elias Harris. Good start for the 5th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs playing here on the road. Harris gets a touchdown low. Levesque trying to play post defense against Harris, who comes up short.
Right now, with Levesque in there, it's a spread pick and roll. 3 shooters out there with Dellavedova.
And he finds an open shooter, Page, who misses the 3. Rebound, Hart. Pangos used a little hesitation move, but good transition defense from St. Mary's. Dower launches. That 3, no good. Kind of a funky carom on the rebound, saved by Hart.
How about Mike Hart? All the hustle plays.
Pangos, in and out, no good. Rebound, tipped around, and Hart comes away with the ball again.
Stephen Holt knows about Mike Hart. High school teammates at Portland Jesuit. 6A state title.
Extra long possession for the Zags here. Bell's floater, air ball, Dower. That's a jump ball. Hand on the ball, and the jump ball means St. Mary's will have it when we come back. It is rocking in Moraga tonight, but the Zags on the road with the early 5-point lead. The Bay Bridge from San Francisco in Moraga, and the 5th-ranked team of the country, Gonzaga, led by Kelly Olynyk, off to a quick start.
One of the most improved players in the country. We talked about the red shirt year and how much he improved last year. Changed his body. Look at this. Knocks down a 3 early. Posts up inside. Attacks. Gets a basket off an offensive rebound. Zags already have 3 offensive rebounds. Rebounding 50% of their misses thanks to Kelly Olynyk and Mike Hart. But look at his improvement. It hasn't really stopped since November when he got into the lineup. Mark Few has redshirted 27 players at Gonzaga, and if you buy into this, very few guys will redshirt in the middle of their career. He has certainly it's had an impact.
And it's been a hidden part of the success of this Gonzaga program over the years, and Olynyk has turned into the poster kid for taking that redshirt year. Jordan Giusti off the bench, and the ball apparently goes out of bounds off of him. Now Dellavedova was arguing that the walk-on, who has started to play significant minutes for Randy Bennett, mostly because of his defensive effort, commits a turnover.
He was matched up with former walk-on David Stockton.
Now intercepted lob, and here come the Gales.
Watch how they screen for Dellavedova, even in transition.
Pangos has the matchup at the moment. Stockton will sag off of Jordan Giusti. Levesque in the lane. Holt passed up the three and is fouled as he puts the ball on the floor. Foul against Gary Bell Jr., sophomore from the Seattle area. And Stephen Holt, as Fran was saying, from that Jesuit program in Portland, has turned into a very good player for St. Mary's. He had a huge second half against Gonzaga up in Spokane.
Yes, he did. He finished with 23, and the thing you like about him is the weakness of Gonzaga, in my opinion, is that perimeter defense. Brandon Paul's 35, Stephen Holt's 23. It's important for Gonzaga to keep Holt under control.
It feels like a game where he can make a big impact. Dellavedova again finds an open shooter. It's Giusti who missed the three. The ball's going to carry him out of bounds, and it is off of St. Mary's.
That time they went strictly dribble drive with no screen. But when you look at this lineup right now for Randy Bennett, you've got four smalls basically because Levesque plays like a stretch four-man.
St. Mary's hasn't hit a three yet. 0 for 4 from the outside. They're going to call a foul against Levesque. A little tangle there near the elbow area. And they're separating the players as well. And I think what you said a moment ago, Fran, applies here. The officials are trying to get control of this game early, and they may well be going to the monitor to see if Bo Levesque committed a flagrant one foul.
Anytime you coach or play in a game like this, you have to understand that if it's a good officiating crew, they're going to call it tight in the first 4 minutes, and you must be ready to adjust. Let's take a look now. Oh boy, that's up high now. That is up high. I don't think Levesque was purposely going high, but that's above the shoulders.
Yeah, I do think that very well could be a flagrant one foul.
I've been so confused this year because officials have been very inconsistent in calling the flagrant one. To me, early in the game, late in the game, that's a flagrant one.
And they are still checking the monitor. Table side, Bo Levesque, the guy whose arm definitely got up there. So as they take another look to try to determine. And there was contact on the shoulder area, sort of the high chest before the arm moved up. Maybe they're trying to make a distinction there.
Well, see, Pangos is in his vision, and you can see the extension of the arm. Now, I'm tired of guessing, but to me, it's a flagrant one.
And Michael Irving, the official, nice enough to come over here tableside and tell us, indeed, it is a flagrant one foul against Bo Levesque.
That's textbook, okay? Now, if you're a St. Mary's fan, you're complaining about it. If you're a Zag fan, you love it. If you're neutral and you're a fan of the officials, to me, that's a good call.
And one of the best free throw shooters in the West Coast Conference, Kevin Pangos, very talented kid from Ontario. They'll shoot the two, and the Zags will keep possession.
This is one of the hardest shots in basketball. On the road, nobody on the line, and everybody rooting against you.
Pangos handled it pretty well.
Yes, he did.
So Randy Bennett not real happy here, and in fact, Michael Reed is having a discussion with the St. Mary's coach before the ball goes back into live action. Mark Few can just be an observer from afar.
For now.
For now.
There'll be something he doesn't like.
And so now apparently Coach Bennett has gotten his point across to Mike Reed, and the officials are going to talk a little more.
I'd be guessing if I know what they're looking at here.
So we'll just have to wait and hear from those guys.
And it's the right guy. Yep, the foul's on Pangos.
Yeah.
Foul is against Pangos, I should say.
Yeah.
There's a situation, I saw a game this year where the officials treated this like a technical foul and anybody could shoot it, and that's not the rule.
And so that may well be the issue. St. Mary's will be charged with a timeout. And
that's right. When you go to the monitor to ask for a review, you're going to get charged.
Essentially, that's like a challenge. Now, we very rarely see this play in college basketball, but it's basically like the challenge system in the NFL. And if what you ask for does not turn out to be the way it was, you get charged with a timeout, and that's what St. Mary's had happen. So Zags up 11-4 and with the ball. Dranginis, another player who's redshirted for the Zags. A lob over the top. Good defense for Levesque. No, a foul. Levesque called for the personal.
And you can see Mark Few's strategy early is to pound it inside. This ball had a lot of air under it, but that's Levesque's second, right?
Yeah, so he's got to be careful. He's in the game at the moment. He's a very important player for St. Mary's. Fresh shot clock for the Zags. David Stockton with the ball. Dranginis on the perimeter.
As you mentioned it, Dave, Dranginis has played a lot more lately. Last 5 games averaging almost 6 points a game.
A super athlete. And a guy they think will be a big part of this Gonzaga program. Stockton, that's an offensive foul. He pushed off.
Now, part of the scouting report on David Stockton that St. Mary's went over yesterday is he has a tendency to push off right here. And it was a good job of defense by Holt. Now, he acted pretty well, but he got the call because he was in the right spot.
Well, now St. Mary's with the ball after all that's gone on. Obviously, the emotions are so high here. St. Mary's needs to start scoring a little bit. Dellavedova takes care of it from the outside. Zags #2 offensive efficiency in the country, but St. Mary's is #3. And these are two of the very best offensive teams in college hoops. Stockton attacks, Stockton scores.
And he went off the wrong foot that time, and that's like a knuckleball pitcher in baseball. Hard to get a gauge on a guy who goes with that wrong foot layup.
Dellavedova had it poked from behind, not stolen though.
Now, you mentioned their efficiency. Both teams averaging 1.2 points per possession.
Extremely good numbers on both sides. Dellavedova came up short. Offensive rebound for Young, and his follow no good. Olynyk grabs the ball out of the air. Olynyk over the top to Dower, catches and scores.
That's been their game all season. It's Harris, Olynyk, Dower, Olynyk, working that high-low.
Very few teams have the size and the depth of size that Gonzaga does.
Or the versatility of scoring at all spots.
Holt's been quiet in the early minutes of this game. Young is not much of an outside shooter. His offensive game much closer to the basket.
Well, this is where they miss Rob Jones's versatility from here. But there's that split again.
And he finds Holt wide open for 3.
Now that's textbook right there. That's the second time he split that second defender. And now all he's worried about is the other 3 defenders on the court.
Olynyk sort of out of control, thought he was fouled. Here comes St. Mary's. And Dellavedova, he's got the look at the moment. He wants his teammates to get out of the way. The double team came, though, and the ball got knocked away. Dower stops and knocks Holt to the ground. I think that was a pretty easy call.
We saw that coming from half court. Watch Matthew Dellavedova comes off the ball screen first. They give him a little bit of separation. He knows he picks his spot. Well done. Now, Next screen comes off, splits it. Where's the open man? Holt? Okay, we'll take that. St. Mary's back in it. State, New Mexico. We know how good they've been. How about Colorado State? Larry Stacey took over a team with 5 seniors, and of course Gonzaga, to me, I know they're not only the best in the West, they're the best in the Big 12 because they're 5-0.
I think they would love to play that Big 12 tournament this year. 5-0. They beat Kansas State. I mean, they beat some teams. They beat them up too. A win at Oklahoma State is looking pretty good.
They beat Texas in a scrimmage that not a lot of people know about in Boulder.
All right, call it 6-0. Dellavedova, and Young will shoot the 3. That's not really the shot St. Mary's wants. Walker went way high to get the rebound. That's a jump ball, though. Gonzaga will get it back.
Where St. Mary's is different this year is you're either going to play Mitchell Young, who's really a roller to the rim, or Bo Levesque, who can shoot it. Last year they had Rob Jones, as you know, Dave. He was such a tough matchup because he could play inside and out.
He could do both, and he was one of the best in the WCC last season. They miss him. Gary Bell off the dribble, in traffic, off the glass.
Well, what you like about that is Gary Bell has got to be more multi-dimensional offensively. Doesn't get himself to the foul line as much this year.
Zags are playing good defense so far. Walker back to Dellavedova. 3.
Remember how much he struggled with that shooting up in Spokane, 4 for 15.
Totally different story so far in this one. He's got 8 in the first half and playing like an All-American. Olenek cut off by Mitchell Young, trying to feed Shemek Karnowski, couldn't do it. Another big man off the bench. This time they call Young for the reach in. These teams are getting pretty physical. Well, on Saturday, rivalry week continues. Duke and Maryland at 6 Eastern. Then Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Texas and a team you just saw, number 14, Kansas, at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
Talk about improved players. Mason Plumlee, certainly a guy on my list. He's one of the most improved players in the country, along with Kelly Olynyk.
That'll be a challenge, though, for Duke on the road against Maryland. Olynyk, nobody stopped him.
Great ISO right there. Pick and pop. Karnowski screened Rowley. Olynyk was able to get to the rim.
6-point lead for Gonzaga. Olynyk helps out against Dellavedova. Walker's a good outside shooter, good athlete. Kind of threw up a wild shot there, though. And the Zags like to run. Bell on the move. Bell had it knocked away. Walker may not slow down. Extra pass, Dellavedova, not this time. Good look for Matthew Dellavedova, just didn't go down.
Wow, I'll tell you what, it is physical inside both ways.
Some quick whistles early. They're letting him play at the moment. Karnowski was shoved. That's a foul against big Kyle Rowley.
This is terrific right here. A little ISO for Olynyk. Pick and pop. They throw it back. And now watch Olynyk get to the rim. Karnowski occupied Kyle Rowley. And Olynyk had nobody in his way on that drive to the basket.
The Zags love to use that play. Sort of just clear everything out. And this is what Fran and I were talking about. Points, basically points per possession. Indiana #1 in the country, but right behind of these two teams.
And what's interesting about that is different ways. St. Mary's heavy ball screen. Ball's in Dellavedova's hands a lot. Gonzaga plays the game from inside out. You remember how good this young man was early in the year?
Yeah.
He's going to be a terrific player at Gonzaga, but he's just not getting the amount of minutes he got in November and December.
They're too deep down low. He also needs to improve his free throw shooting because he gets fouled a lot and he doesn't make a lot at the line. He did make 1 of 2 there. Gonzaga with a 7-point lead. Brad Waldo back in. A little more size for the Gales at the moment with both Waldo and Mitchell Young on the floor together. You see that difference. Points in the paint. Gonzaga has dominated early.
Well, when you play the two bigs for St. Mary's, they don't stretch the defense as much in the spread pick and roll, so they're a little bit easier to guard.
Page, runner, good.
I love that kid. Good move. One of those Aussies that came out of the Institute of Sport.
Got a pipeline for this St. Mary's program. Hart back in. They'll attack along the baseline. Still plenty of time on the shot clock at 10. Bell to the bucket. Gary Bell foul. Basket did not go down, but Bell will go to the free throw line. Well, we have had a spirited first half so far. There is no rivalry out west better than this one. We'll talk about the recent history between the Zags and St. Mary's when we come back. Have just gone after each other the last 8 meetings. So close. 2 of those 8 games in overtime. The stats almost identical. And Randy Bennett, the head coach at St. Mary's, he has worked hard to make sure this is indeed a great rivalry.
You know, he was an assistant for 17 years. I remember when I was coaching in New Mexico, my assistant coach, Joe Dooley, was in charge of scheduling. He said, Coach, I got St. Mary's coming to our tournament. They only won 2 games last year. Don't worry about them. It'll be great. We're up 6 with 2 minutes to go. I look at him. I said, Joe, I thought they only won 2 games. They played so hard. They weren't very good. They won 9 games that first year. But if you know Randy Bennett like I did as an assistant and now as a head coach, very competitive guy. Not surprised one bit what he's done here in Moraga.
He has the game face on here so far tonight. Gonzaga, though, has controlled much of this first half with Gary Bell Jr. at the free throw line for 2 shots out of the timeout. And he makes the first. The guy who's been a part of a lot of those recent excellent games, Omar Samhan, who sort of dominated the WCC and the headlines in this league a couple years ago.
He enjoyed playing against Gonzaga. I can tell you that. I talked to him about it.
Yeah, no kidding. He did.
That first Gonzaga team had Adam Caporn on it, who was the first Aussie to really get this thing going. Now an assistant coach.
Levesque back in the game with 2 fouls, so he's got to be careful. Into traffic, missed the shot, tipped up, good with the foul.
Well, Levesque's penetration collapsed that defense, and Brad Waldo snuck in on the backside. Take a look. That shot went up. Waldo gets the tip in from the backside to get a chance to make it 3.
Waldo comes up short. He's not a great free throw shooter, so he misses the chance for the 3-point play. Hart almost traveled.
Looked like he did. Randy Bennett thought he did.
Olynyk, the headband came off. The hair's flying. And he'll pick it up in live action.
Right now they're going to play 4-on-5 till he figures it out.
He's got it as a wristband maybe, I think. Olynyk, everybody flying in all directions. That's a foul against St. Mary's.
Boy, Olynyk did a really good job of initiating that contact. It's hard to tell from here, but I'm not sure.
Okay, first we got to check the headband.
Yeah.
There that goes, and that's a signature for Kelly. By then, he had picked it up. Look, it's on his left wrist, so the hair's flopping everywhere. Dellavedova gets called for the foul.
Here's the problem. I think if Delly didn't if he didn't sell that and flop, I think it would have been a charge. The fact that he sold it too well, I think, is the reason they called it a block. But he had the charge set up there.
Well, that's 2 fouls against Dellavedova. For all of St. Mary's foul trouble, that's the one that really matters.
Well, I think Randy Bennett's going to get him out right now. But if this lead stays the way it is, I wouldn't be surprised if he brings him back. Maybe even platoons him offense for defense. Because you don't want to go into the half against Gonzaga down 10 or 12.
And he knows how to play with foul. Last week against Santa Clara, Dellavedova picked up 2 in the first 2 minutes of the game. and didn't pick up his third until the game was almost over. Olynyk misses the first of two.
You know the great thing about Olynyk, he's never gotten a haircut in the United States of America. He usually would go home to Kamloops, 6-hour drive from Spokane, get it cut up there. Last year when he was redshirting, he forgot to get it cut, let it grow out, and now a story.
We might have to fly somebody in, help him out a little bit. Now, Dellavedova indeed is on the bench. We'll see for how long. Probably not that long. Stephen Holt almost had it picked from behind. And this offense without Dellavedova is a different animal.
Well, it sure is. And I think they've got to try and find ways to get Holt going.
He has been very quiet in the first half. Shot clock under 10 now. Holt against Pangos. Gave it up. Page, that's a tough shot. No good. Rebound Harris. Trailing Olynyk. Hits a three.
Boy. You know, when he came to Gonzaga, that was his game, the perimeter game. Now that he's a post-up player, he still has that ability to stretch it with that jumper.
Well, he's got 12. Another big game going for Kelly Olynyk. Holt is fouled.
Well, watch Kelly Olynyk now. Stop and pop off the break. No hesitation. This good rhythm shot. You know, this year he's doubled the amount of times he's posting up. He'll post up 22% of the time. His freshman year was about 10%. He spent so much time on the perimeter, but now he's more of a versatile scorer inside and out.
The officials may now be questioning who they call that foul on. I thought it was against Elias Harris. They're going to the monitor to check. 5:42 to go here in the first half. And in fact, they're going back to the last play to see if that was a 2 or 3. I thought the foot was behind the line.
Well, that there is a little tough to tell.
Yeah, that angle doesn't give you a whole lot. This one should, and it is behind the line.
It'll be easy.
A good look from our camera crew, and that is a 3 for Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk, one of the remarkable things, he's third in the country in field goal shooting, so he's making shots all over the place. He takes a huge percentage of shots when he's on the floor. So not that he's a ball hog, but he is a high volume shooter who's making most of them.
When you shoot 65%, it would be good coaching to make sure he touches the ball.
Yeah, we'd like you to shoot a little more, Kelly. Just feel free. And he has done it. What a year he's had.
10 NBA scouts in this McEwen Pavilion tonight. Mostly here to see Olynyk, but certainly Matthew Dellavedova as well.
Dellavedova, that was a short rest with 2 fouls out for 1 minute back in the game.
Well, you mentioned how experienced he is.
Hits a 3 right off the bench.
That's the third 3 he's hit where he's had just a little bit of space.
Harris, what a quick spin move, draws a foul. Couldn't quite finish, but Harris gets himself to the line.
Watch Dellavedova now. Doesn't need the pick and roll right here. He sizes up Elias Harris. Looking out the court, you know how much I love international basketball, Dave. I see Germany, I see Canada, I see Australia, Poland. This is a love fest for me.
This game was made for you. Harris makes the first. Dellavedova climbing up that line. International flavor, that's for sure on that list.
Now Daniel Kickert's about to get past, barring any unforeseen circumstances. It started with Adam Caporn, the guard. He got Kickert to come here. They all came out of the Australian Institute of Sport. 10 different Aussies have played for Randy Bennett. And it happened quite by accident because that first year, there's Adam Caporn who played against my New Mexico team. They needed players, and they offered him a scholarship in August of that first season. It was really quite by accident, this Aussie pipeline.
It's turned into a great part of this program. Dellavedova really feeling it, but not that time. Here's Bell in transition. Dellavedova with the 2 fouls. Avoided contact. And Bell missed the shot.
Dellavedova's going to have to mug someone to pick up that third one.
Aldo had to go right through his hands. I think you're right about that. That's the 5th St. Mary's turnover. Well, the Gales have been a little sloppier than usual.
Well, and you know, St. Mary's defense has really picked up since that first meeting with Gonzaga. It was a point of emphasis in the last 9 games.
Harris goes baseline again. Levesque's got 2 fouls himself, so he's got to be cautious. Shot clock winding down. Pangos knows it. Pangos with Giusti all over him. Olynyk there, and he couldn't quite get it to go. Then Waldo just lost the ball. Waldo had it and gave it up. And that is an unforced error. He gave the ball back to the Zags.
Tell you what, Giusti's done a nice job on Pangos, hasn't he? You mentioned his defensive prowess.
He is a tough-minded defensive player. And he's one of the reasons why their team defense has improved. Here's Bell open. No good. Dellavedova. Hart was on top of him. They're going to call Hart for the foul. Well, we've talked a lot about Kelly Olynyk, the improvements he's made, what a great year he is having. And in the biggest game of the year for the Zags and the Gales, Olynyk has come to play. San Francisco, Matthew Dellavedova playing very well.
And he's really scoring the ball. He's the only Gale in double figures, knocking down 3 threes already. We've seen him play pick and roll basketball as well as he usually does, finding the open man. But St. Mary's right now is going to need that second and third scorer. And for both teams, really, it's been about the stars tonight.
Olynyk playing extremely well. Dellavedova making shots. Dellavedova is at the free throw line here. Out of this timeout, and that's where one of the areas where the Zags have really beaten up on the Gales in the first half. Gonzaga's been at the line a lot. St. Mary's 0 for 1 as a team at the line. But Dellavedova almost automatic, 89% earns the second.
2009 Team USA's 19 and under team, coached by Jamie Dixon, with guys like Steph Curry on there, Ashton Gibbs. They won the gold medal in New Zealand, and Australia had a young guy named Matthew Dellavedova. It was the summer before he came here. He stepped right into that St. Mary's lineup when Patty Mills left.
Yeah, he was ready to go from day one. Has basically played, not quite literally every minute of every game since then, but it's pretty close. Harris, runner, no good. Hart saves it in bounds. What a hustle half Mike Hart is having.
That is so hard to do what he does. And I talked to Mark Few in December at Oklahoma State. He said, we are going to miss this guy more than even our fans realize.
Harris catches against Levesque. Goes right by him, but Young there to swat it away.
Big possession.
Walker shoots a 3. Off to the side, no good, and it'll carry him out of bounds.
Matthew Dellavedova, you know what? These guys slapped 5 more than any other team I see, you know? Even though I didn't think that was a great shot, Dellavedova was telling Walker, you're okay, good one. You'll make the next one.
Every time, when they walk through before a game, it just sort of go over the scout of the other team. Every time they go through any individual play, Dellavedova wants to walk around to everybody on the team and give them high five.
He's giving them a pound.
Pound, high five, whatever.
Low five.
It's a tight-knit group. Really, you could say the same on both sides. David Stockton. Hart's made a big impact in this first half. Giusti just right on top of Pangos. Stockton thought about the 3. Instead, it's Olynyk. Double crossover move for the big man. Out of bounds off of Olynyk.
Talked about St. Mary's. They put an extra emphasis on defense lately. Mitchell Young scraping that ball loose. Hands part of the ball, Dave.
Dellavedova split that defense. Walker from the baseline.
All right, now we're talking level 3 here, because he's not even worried about the second defender, the screener's man.
Stockton was trying to sell that contact. Pangos found an opening and hits a 3.
They've done a good job on Kevin Pangos for much of this half, but he got loose.
finally a little daylight, and he was ready to rip. Dellavedova pulls up, answers. Wow.
That's why I'm here. I'd have walked here from Lawrence.
Mike Hart, rebound rally. If Dellavedova hits another one, the building may collapse. Under a minute to go, first half, three-point game. Zags have led basically the whole way.
It's rare that a guy who's so ball dominant is so good for a team.
Dellavedova feeling it, good. 19 in the first half. Timeout, Zags. Matthew Dellavedova, a signature game for the senior from Australia.
DVR's full again.
Oh, you're kidding. Cable's more irritating than...
Behind the line, he hasn't made any mistakes in this half. He didn't make one there.
No. Mark Few told me during the summer that if he didn't have to coach against him, he's one of the most favorite players he's ever competed against. And he has put on a show in his first half. Now, he's got the 2 fouls. The score is tied. He's got him back in it. Randy Bennett's taking him out on defense to make sure he doesn't pick up number 3.
Call your friends if they've never seen Matthew Dellavedova play and tell them tonight's the night.
Well, if they tune in the second half, they'll have missed a heck of a first half performance.
Difference, game clock, shot clock. So Zags can't quite hold for the final look. Harris on the perimeter. Shot clock down to 10. It's Stockton. Olynyk slipped, lost the ball. 10 seconds here. Open shooter, good! Fans don't even realize it because it's so loud in here, but St. Mary's with 1.5 seconds left in the half just called for a foul, and Mitchell Young, already in some foul trouble, was called for the personal, I believe. We haven't gotten the official word on that.
I couldn't see it because everyone in front of us on Gucci Row, yep, they have a Gucci Row here, and McEwen was standing up.
And I don't think they must not have called it against Young. Yeah, it is right there.
Yeah.
So it is Young, and that is his 3rd foul, and it puts Pangos at the line. There was a second left in the half. Oh, that should never happen.
Not for a guy with that much experience.
Pangos earns the 2nd free throw. I mean, that's just a huge mistake. And they knew.
Yeah, they knew. I'll tell you what, even if Pangos gets him to 1, this place is going to erupt because St. Mary's has clawed their way back into the lead.
Holt, I don't think he got it off. He came pretty close, but it wouldn't have counted, and we had quite a first half in Moraga.
We sure did. Both ways, 2 good basketball teams, 2 competitive teams.
Olynyk and Hart and Pangos against Dellavedova and St. Mary's. Gales with the 1-point lead at halftime. Steve Weissman with the Land Rover halftime report. 33-32. Gales lead the Zags.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. This is the Land Rover halftime report. Madness in Moraga. We got a good one going on, though, as well, between Colorado. St. Mary's.
I mean, when you watch Matthew Dellavedova, He's just got great body control. I mean, he doesn't look like he's going to be a fantastic player, but he makes plays. He's got such great grit. Remember, in college basketball, he's the one player who played in the Olympics. He's got a great feel for the game, knows when to make the threes. He's got that big mouth guard hanging out.
Like a boxer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, he definitely could have played in the fighter. And he just finds his spots, gets a little bit of an air space there, a little space to get off that shot, makes things happen. Meanwhile, Kelly Olynyk has been a little bit all over the place, a little wild at times, lost the headband.
Put it on the wrist.
Flowing locks. But he has been a major factor as well in this game. A little out of control at times, but you can tell that Olynyk, if he can start working more inside in the second half, it's going to be very difficult for St. Mary's to keep an eye on him or keep him off the backboard. But he's been putting the ball on the floor, been scoring inside, sort of hitting those transition buckets where he's been hitting it on the fly. And if this shapes up in the second half the way we've seen in the first half, we're going to have a great rivalry game. And I thought going into this week, this would probably be the best game that we've seen in rivalry week. Hopefully we'll get that here in the second half.
Andy, when Matthew Dellavedova scores at least 17 points, the Gales are 12-0. He already has 19.
Look at you pulling out those stats.
Much more straight ahead on the Land Rover Halftime Report. A big one in the Big Ten, Andy. Minnesota.
Price, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's. What a first half, getting ready to start the second in Moraga. St. Mary's 33, fifth-ranked Gonzaga 32. Dave Fleming, Fran Fraschilla, thrilled to be here for what truly is one of the great rivalries in college basketball. I know you were looking forward to this game, Fran. You glad you made it out here?
Oh, this is awesome. It really is. And you know what? They needed some scoring, St. Mary's. Matty Dellavedova, he supplied it.
Yeah, you and I talked a lot at the start about how he orchestrates the offense, passing the ball out of the pick-and-roll sets, but it was his shooting and scoring that really was the difference.
Yeah, and they took away a lot of his passing lanes tonight, but we'll take a look. Watch him read the defender on the ball screen. Splits Dower, pulls up, knocks it down. Now, second pin. Splits him again. Dower not a great pick-and-roll defender. We know that. Gets into the lane, draws help, and then he reads the open man. Now, he's got a mismatch with, look at Harris looking around like he's on an island all by himself with Dellavedova, who calmly pulls up and knocks down the three.
First half stats, St. Mary's, that shooting really picked up. The free throws were a big difference in Gonzaga's favor. As were points in the paint. Gonzaga was tough inside, very physical. A lot of that was Kelly Olynyk.
Well, it's been physical inside, and Olynyk, I think it's to Olynyk's favor, but boy, if you're Mark Few, you got to keep pounding it inside. And for St. Mary's, you got to think they've got to find another scorer besides Dellavedova.
We had the opposite of balanced scoring in the first half. And really, I mean, I think you could say the same on both sides, although Pangos chipped in to help Olynyk with 7. The Gales up by 1, playing here at home at historic McEwen Pavilion, have the first possession of the second half.
The play they opened the first half with.
Dellavedova came up short, but Mitchell Young right there missed the follow. Young, who committed the silly foul at the end of the first half. Bell open, nails the 3, and the Zags are back in front.
I've said since November, I think the key to Gonzaga making a deep run in the tournament is getting the kind of production Gary Bell gave them as a freshman. They don't need him as much this year.
But he had a great freshman season. His numbers have been down. Dellavedova right through that double team. The lob, and Young missed the dunk. Got to finish that one. Olynyk runs the court, gets fouled. So that's a double thud for St. Mary's. Miss the dunk and then don't get back on defense.
Now watch Dellavedova. He's been splitting that ball screen all night. Look how stretched out Olynyk is. Makes the right read, and Young's just got to come up with that. And then they go back the other end, and Kelly Olynyk gets a chance to get to the foul line.
Foul was against Waldo, not Young. That foul at the end of the first half was Young's 3rd. It gave Gonzaga basically a free 2 points at the end of the half. Olynyk makes the first of 2 free throws.
Well, you can see why Matthew Dellavedova, and we said this early, is so good in pick and roll, because he's not worried about his man or the screener's man. He's watching all 5 defenders.
Olynyk made them both. So a good start to the second half for Gonzaga. 5th-ranked team of the country, now leading by 4. Levesque in quickly at the start of this half. Attacks off the dribble, and it's stripped away and stolen. Elias Harris on the move, right by the defense to lay it in. Timeout, St. Mary's.
Now you say, why does Matthew Dellavedova not make that stop? With the 2 fouls, it's a smart move. Give up the 2 so that you can stay on the floor.
But a 9-0 run going back to the first half, and the Zags have a 6-point lead. Michigan State, part of that crazy and very, very good Big Ten.
Dick used to camp outside Lansing Everett High School because he'd already had a pretty good staple of Detroit Titans like Terry Durod and John Long, Terry Tyler, but he couldn't get Magic to make that trip down to Detroit.
He would have been the difference maker, I think. We might not have had Dick for all these years.
Exactly.
Here's Dellavedova. Zags 9-0 run. And look at that skip pass. Juicy. No good. Holt tips it back in.
Perfect example. Great read by Dellavedova. He wasn't worried about the defenders at the point of the screen. He knew where Juicy was.
So a much-needed bucket for St. Mary's. Juicy fell down, though, and you give Pangos that opening, he's going to burn you. He is so smooth. 9 points. He's only taken 4 shots.
You know, like we talked about, you know, they were, look, there's a split again.
Finding Holt. No good on the 3.
Pangos and Bell did so much last year, they don't need to be as good offensively.
Bell lays it in.
Yeah. This team is built from Olynyk and Harris out, but we know how dangerous those sophomore guards are. You know what I love about those guards? They're not declaring for the NBA draft anytime soon. They're going to be around a long time.
Waldo close to the bucket. Waldo scores.
Good ball movement. It's important for St. Mary's to get a second or third score besides Dellavedova.
Gonzaga has really gotten out on a break in this half. Gotten some easier looks. Now in the half court. Olynyk matched up with Dellavedova, and he wants some help. He'll get it from Waldo.
Did you see Dellavedova talk Waldo to Olynyk? Because he didn't want to pick up the 3rd foul.
Shot clock down to 7. Pangos gives it up. Harris. Short. Olynyk offensive rebound. And then Juicy nearly steals it away.
Boy, Harris was not adroit with that pass to Pangos.
You got to be careful with the ball. Olynyk against Waldo. Starts to make his move. Another offensive rebound for Gonzaga. Bell 3, good.
That is a killer right there. Coach K, one of those guys I've heard him say at clinics. You get that offensive rebound, you got the defense in a scramble situation.
Dellavedova double teamed, and he's going to call a timeout to prevent the turnover. Gonzaga's gone on a run, a 16-4 run. And Gonzaga leads by 9. Offensive rebound has been a big part of it.
Been a big factor. Take a look. Watch Harris. Kicks it out. Gary Bell already on that 3-point line. Gary Bell, a guy that made 5 threes in the first half at LMU. He can light it up.
Well, Mark Few talking to his team, playing very well in the second half. ESPN College Basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at WatchESPN.com and with the Watch ESPN app.
One of the reasons this is such an important game for St. Mary's, Dave, is they don't have a lot of quality RPI wins on their schedule. The best one right now would have to be BYU, and they're at 62.
Now, they won that game on the road, so it's a nice road win. But you watch St. Mary's, and they look like a tournament team. They look like they're clearly one of the top 30 or so teams in the country, but that resume, they need a boost.
Well, there's no question. And they've got Creighton coming in next week for Bracket Busters with Doug McDermott. BYU will come back in here. Of course, Matthew Dellavedova was the hero of that game with that buzzer beater.
Signature shot in the college basketball season. Dellavedova working against Olynyk. Finds Juicy open. No good. Rebound Olynyk. Snatched it away. A lot of open looks for St. Mary's. Missing shots. Pangos blew right by the defense to draw the foul. And man, has Gonzaga gone on the attack in transition.
Well, this is a team that you know they average almost 80 points a game. They can play a lot of different styles. Right here, Pangos getting to the rim. St. Mary's, a little bit of trouble. Struggle losing 3 in a row, but I think the committee thinks of them as a quality team. The record's great, but you know the strength of schedule speaks for itself, and the committee will look at this, and certainly they got the WCC tournament as well in Las Vegas.
Yeah, they were the champions of the WCC tournament last year, 2 out of the last 3 years, so the automatic bid will certainly be up for grabs as well. But the Gales don't want to go to Las Vegas needing to win to get in. That's not a good position, particularly with a top 5 team in this West Coast Conference in Gonzaga and looking like it here in the second half.
On the other hand, for Gonzaga, you're playing now for the highest seed possible. And Mark Few would love to be on that second line come mid-March.
I think he's got a great chance to be. A lot of quality wins on Gonzaga's resume. This is a 10-point lead, biggest of the game for Gonzaga. St. Mary's led by 1 at the half, but it's been all Gonzaga in the second half. Kyle Rowley threw it away. Bell looking confident, but his pass was tipped by Walker. Bell saves it into Olynyk, finds Harris, who gets fouled. Bo Levesque prevented the dunk, but Harris will shoot free throws.
Broken play, but Kelly Olynyk knew where to go with it, and he found Harris on the backside.
Yeah, that was a nice look by Olynyk.
Yeah, good hustle here by Gary Bell. Look at Olynyk. This is a broken play, but Olynyk just makes that extra pass, and Elias Harris, who seems like he's been around. Did he play with Stockton? Seems like he's been around forever.
He's had a great career. A guy who burst on the scene and had some incredible performances his freshman season. And there was speculation, would he go to the NBA right then and there? He has stayed around. He's really having his best overall year this year.
You know, he's become a really good college player. He embraces the power forward spot in college. You know, will he make an NBA team? It's possible, but people had him in the lottery as a freshman, and that was never realistic.
St. Mary's is just getting blitzed here in the second half. Stephen Holt, a long 2, in and out, no good. And Harris grabs the board.
Yeah, this is a veteran team now.
Hart didn't want to shoot it. And here's Pangos. Olynyk much quicker than Kyle Rowley. Lost the ball. But there's Mike Hart around the loose ball again. Shocker. Shot clock down to 6 now. Olynyk shoots. Got it.
How about that? Is that unbelievable? Has anybody improved as much as Kelly Olynyk has? There have been some guys that have, by the way. But I don't know if anybody's any better a year later than Kelly Olynyk has been.
Holt goes middle. Holt gets the roll.
That's really important. You mentioned Holt's 23 up at Gonzaga, which got them back into the game in the second half. They trailed by 18 at halftime of that game.
Olynyk wanted to make the quick move. Instead gave it up, and Bell threw it to nobody. Now that's a turnover for Gonzaga. Their 6th of the game. They've kept care of the ball pretty well.
I'm going to see one of the most improved players in the country on Saturday in Richard Howell from NC State, who is likely to be an all-ACC first-teamer. They'll take on Virginia Tech. If I make that red-eye flight tonight. We have overtime. I'm staying with you tonight.
Come over to San Francisco. We got room. Dellavedova, Levesque, who has just been almost invisible in this game. Foul trouble, a part of that. Walker, jump ball. And the Zags with good defense would get it back.
Yeah, the one thing that we knew about St. Mary's this year, this is really good, solid defense. At times, Holt's been that second scorer, but they really miss Rob Jones's versatility and a guy that would love to bang with that Gonzaga front line.
Still a lot of time, but Gonzaga's really taken control of this game, playing at a very high level right now. Harris posting up on Levesque, had it knocked away. More contact. Holt in transition. 3.
That's important because Stephen Holt can get going.
He's got 10 now. Timeout Gonzaga. The crowd starting to get back in. I think everybody here was just stunned the way St. Mary's fell behind in the early minutes of this second half.
When you watch Matthew Dellavedova, keeps it simple, finds Holt, straddles that line, good rhythm, Jay. Once again, and that's what you love about Dellavedova. He knew they needed to score, for him to score in the first half, but he's got to get his teammates going in the second half.
Hey, you figure the big men have to get involved as well. We get a chance to remind you, we don't want you to miss some of the hottest celebrities, film, TV, music, playing alongside NBA legends. It's the Sprint NBA All-Star Celebrity Game tomorrow at 7 on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN, part of All-Star Weekend down in Houston this year.
I'll watch a little bit of that. Starting Saturday, I got 3. I'm a busy guy this week.
You're the busiest guy in television coming up.
I'll be at NC State on Saturday for Virginia Tech. Sherry Cole and her Oklahoma Sooners. They'll be playing in Kansas on Sunday, and then big Monday with Brent Musburger, West Virginia, Kansas State.
Kansas State, a team that Gonzaga just thumped in Seattle earlier this year. Waldo fought for the rebound, couldn't grab it, but St. Mary's comes away with the ball. Levesque almost dribbles it away. And Dellavedova is going to take charge here. Chance to chip away, though. The screener, Waldo. Instead, Dellavedova to Walker, who came up way short there. A foul. And that one's going to go, I think, against Gonzaga.
Well, Walker, the junior college transfer, has had some good looks, hasn't been able to knock them down. Drew Barham in the game now for the Zags, a guy that transferred from Memphis, a really good shooter, Dave. And, you know, that small forward spot for Gonzaga has basically been by committee this year.
Yeah, he's another example. Wearing number 43, guarding Holt at the moment. But Drew Barham, another example of a guy who he'd probably be playing big minutes on a lot of teams for Gonzaga. He has a hard time getting in games.
But he can shoot it, which is why he's on the court right now.
He can really shoot it.
Started 12 games at Memphis for Josh Pastner before transferring.
Dellavedova will get the screen. And now the switch off has Dower on him. Dellavedova, no good. Rebound, loose ball. And it's off of Bo Levesque.
You love it. You love Levesque's energy. He's a great story. Double hip surgeries, injured throughout high school, a red shirt. Played for the great Frank Olaco right down the road at De La Salle in Concord. Former Notre Dame football player, Frank Olaco.
Levesque's had an excellent year. He's gotten a lot better, but he has had a quiet night. Pangos missed the 3 that time. It'll be St. Mary's ball. There's still a lot of time left in this game. St. Mary's went on the big run at the end of the first half, actually took the lead. Gonzaga has controlled the second half. The shooting for St. Mary's, the percentages dipped down. Levesque's going to check out of the game. Mitchell Young back in. The Gales need something from their big men. They are being whipped underneath the basket.
That's been a dilemma, as you know. As I mentioned, you know, you like Young and Waldo. They bang. They're tough. But you're not going to get a lot of scoring out of them. Or there's an elbow.
No, that's a foul. Young call for the personal.
Now I think they're going to go to the monitor again. That elbow was above the shoulders. That's the rule. That rule's been instituted. It hasn't been adjudicated as well across the country as it should be. But I think they'll take a look at this. This very well could be another flagrant one.
And no matter what, it's going to be the 4th personal against Mitchell Young, which is news in and of itself. Let's look.
You know, I think that's a flagrant one. I really do.
It's not the elbow, it's the shoulder.
I've been told by officials it doesn't matter. Any part of that arm that strikes above the shoulder. That's what I've been told. Now, you got some top officials who referee their own rules. There's a few, not many. 95% of these guys are excellent.
And this is a very veteran crew. They do a lot of big games in the Pac-12 and the WCC. They did take a look at it, and they want to see it again.
Now, I read the darn rule book. I really do, but I get confused, too, because take a look now. Now, unless they say that it's not an elbow, but I've been told by good officials that any contact above the shoulders with an arm. Okay. So they told us common foul because it was with the shoulder and not the arm anywhere near the elbow. So.
And there is some gray area in the rule book, the way the rule is
there's a
written.
lot this year, trust me. You got a couple guys that referee their own rules, but by and large, these guys do a phenomenal job. And this crew tonight, I don't see a lot of West Coast. I don't know Kevin Brill that well. You know, and these guys out here, they've done, you know, Mike, I know about him from watching him, Michael Reed, certainly Michael Irving, but they've done a very good job tonight of controlling a very heated game.
Yeah, tough game to officiate, I think. Young was on the court for about 20 seconds, picked up his 4th foul. He's right back on the bench. Also a wasted possession for St. Mary's. So Gonzaga gets the ball back. Olynyk against Waldo. Here's Pangos. Tried that wraparound pass off of the Gales, out of bounds. It is spirited, it's heated, and Gonzaga's playing very well on the road. Gonzaga leads by 10.
And I would do anything for love. Oh, I would do anything for love. I would do anything for love. But I won't do that, or that, or this. No, not this. Definitely not this. It hurts, but I kind of like it.
ESPN College Game Day is on the road again.
And what a cool story, huh?
The great moments just keep on coming.
Zeller dumps it back in. Jones! Yeah! You serious? Let the party begin in Raleigh.
And College Game Day is right in the thick of it. This week, Jay, Reese, Jalen, and Digger are live from Kansas. College Game Day covered by State Farm. Saturday at 10 on ESPNU and 11 on ESPN.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema.
You love Carrick Felix, who's having a terrific year for Herb Sendek down at Arizona State, Corey Jefferson from Baylor. But I think Kelly Olynyk's the most improved player in the country.
I think he takes surprise. Dower somehow avoided stumbling into the backcourt. That was pretty athletic play by the big guy. Shot clock at 10 now. Barham. I'm not sure he realizes that shot clock. I'm not sure Olynyk does. Now he shoots from way outside, and it almost went down.
We saw him shoot a half-court shot today. That was a jumper, not forced. He has that range.
Not a heave.
Maybe not from half-court.
Stephen Holt. Waldo, offensive board, missed the putback.
That's what you talked about. Inability to finish, Waldo and Young. We talked about it earlier, the lob by Young that he missed.
You're down by 10, and those baskets loom large. Young had a dunk, just missed it, and now he's on the bench with 4 fouls. Waldo has missed a couple from point-blank range. You work hard, get that offensive rebound, just stick it back in. St. Mary's with the alternate possession does get the ball. Gonzaga's defended St. Mary's inbounds plays very well.
Oh, these teams, as you know, when you get to conference play, there's no secrets. They watch film, they know tendencies.
Walker passed up the 3, swatted away, ripped away by Pangos. Pangos on the move against Dellavedova. Good defense, but a great shot by Pangos.
Pangos makes those shots. People think of him as a deep three-point shooter, but he makes those unorthodox floaters and runners. He works on them. Works on them with a heavy ball in practice.
Holt has not gotten free like he did in Spokane. Hart now on top of Dellavedova. Basically the entire defense keying on Dellavedova. Waldo, tip, no good.
Well, they can key on him because they can't stretch the floor with the amount of shooters they did last year.
Harris tried to catch that lob a little too hard, out of bounds.
Well, watch this. We talked about Gonzaga averaging almost 80 a game. It starts with the block. Watch the run out. Kevin Pangos drives Mark Few crazy in practice because he'll try crazy shots. And the coaching staff tells Mark Few, relax. He's not going to play crazy in games, but you have to work on those unorthodox shots if you're going to make them, and he does.
Holt on the attack off the glass.
I like that from Stephen Holt. Got to stay aggressive, Holt.
Still a 10-point lead now, under 10 minutes to play. Stockton off the bench. Harris cut off, but then the defense just left him.
Good footwork, too.
Excellent by Elias Harris.
Late Pete Newell would have loved that, the reverse pivot.
Yeah, we're in Pete Newell's part of the country, just a few miles away from Berkeley.
Great run at Cal, one of our all-time legends.
A foil, a true foil for John Wooden. Levesque gets the three, and that is his first basket of the game.
When he stretches the defense with the three, if water bottles come on the court, when he can stretch the defense with the three, it'll really open up Dellavedova's driving lane. Take a look at Bo Levesque now. There's the drive by Giusti. Levesque, good rhythm three. Guy that was a couple weeks ago WCC Player of the Week.
And getting a stern talking to from his head coach Randy Bennett. They need more of that from Bo Levesque in the next 9 minutes and 5 seconds.
You remember when they struggled in Anaheim. They were missing Robert Jones. He told both Mitchell Young and Bo Levesque, singularly you can't replace him, but together you can. Where Levesque helps you is that ability to shoot the three.
They just had to issue a warning to the crowd here because, as Fran mentioned, there was a bottle, an empty bottle and a plastic bottle, but a bottle nonetheless thrown out onto the court, and a warning was issued that St. Mary's team could be issued a technical foul if that happens again.
What happens if you're a Gonzaga fan and you just want to throw an empty water bottle out there?
Good point. And there are some Zags fans who are here.
Shoehorned in here, by the way.
Just a totally packed house at the QN Pavilion. Pangos. Safety valve to Harris, matched up with Levesque. Harris on the attack again. That's an offensive foul. And Mitchell Young, who's got 4, drew the charge.
Harris had the advantage on the drive, but Young stepped outside the arc. And he had to absolutely be set. Let's take a look. And from there, it looks like he's set outside that restricted arc.
Young with the defense gets the ball back for St. Mary's.
Big possession.
Holt might have gotten away with a little shove off, and he scores. He pushed off with the forearm, but he hit the jumper.
Well, Young's got to be careful tangling up with Olynyk right now.
Stockton gets it back from Pangos.
Gale's one basket away from making this place erupt. But they need a stop.
Ranginis had it picked away. Dellavedova then fell on the ball and flipped it to Jordan Giusti. What a play. And then Stockton hustles back. That'll be a jump ball. And the Zags will get it back. Man, that was something else on both sides.
Oh, Dellavedova made a heck of a play. Giusti, the walk-on, but then David Stockton, the former walk-on. You talk about scrapping. This is what this rivalry is all about. Forget the threes and the dunks. It's this right here.
Look brought to you by History's Vikings. Last 8 meetings, 4 wins aside, almost the exact same number of points, shooting percentages. Every game basically has been close and hotly contested.
And I think this rivalry has been just as good for Gonzaga as it has been to establish St. Mary's nationally, especially because when you think about it, in the last 10 years, Dave, Gonzaga has only played 5 ranked teams in the regular season in February and March going into the NCAA tournament. 3 times it's been St. Mary's, twice it's been Memphis.
Well, that is a good point. As St. Mary's has raised its game, Zags have had to stay sharper as the conference season's gone on.
Hey, how about this? Dellavedova has not scored in the second half.
Well, they're going to need some points from him. Here's Olynyk against Mitchell Young. Face up, no good. Rebound, and they're going the other way. Dellavedova blocked out Mike Hart, who committed the foul. His second personal.
Yeah, and only the 3rd team foul for Gonzaga. And St. Mary's only has 4. Can you imagine a game this intense that I think's been officiated pretty well? Only 7 fouls between both teams.
Now, they are letting these teams bang away. There's been a lot of physical play.
I think they've been consistent.
There's a walk-on Jordan Giusti.
That's exactly what Dellavedova wanted. Get that ball back in his hands.
Help on the screen. Dellavedova. A no-look and the extra pass. Olynyk gets his hand on it to knock it out of bounds. Maybe overpassing for the Gales.
Well, in a way, yes, but no, because Giusti wanted to set up Levesque, who we know can really shoot it. But good job of Gonzaga by staying in that defensive rotation.
Shot clock's at 3, so St. Mary's has got to get one off here. Dellavedova wants to be the one to take it. 3!
It's that same principle that he used against BYU. He knew he had at least 2 dribbles. And he could have had a 3rd, but good job of not even have to looking at the shot clock.
And now it's loud again. 8-0 run. First bucket of the half for Dellavedova. Harris through the defense, came up short. Mike Hart tried to save it in, and he couldn't do it.
Randy Bennett told Matthew Dellavedova before BYU, you're going to have 2.5, 3 dribbles. He had 3 dribbles here. He only needed 2. But because he knows 1 dribble per second, he does not have to look at the clock.
It's a great principle to take some pressure off players in those late clock situations.
You got to do it in practice. I used to do it with my team. We'd figure out how far up the court we could go. And it turned out to be a dribble per second.
Here's Dellavedova. Came up short that time. And he's a little upset at himself. He got a smile on his face as he heads back on defense. A 3 that would have cut it to 1.
You can live with 1 of those.
Yeah.
Because of what he does for this team. He's laughing about it. I guarantee you the next one's not going to be an air ball.
6 minutes plus to go, and very much a game in Moraga. St. Mary's has made 10 threes.
So about half their shots tonight have been from behind the arc.
Putting a little pressure on Pangos and Gonzaga. The Zags offense has gone so quiet. 4 points in the last 8+ minutes for the 2nd most efficient offense in the country. Barham open. His 3 is good.
If you've never heard of Drew Barham, just trust me on this. He can shoot it.
Out of bounds off of Olynyk.
Young man who started his career at Memphis. He's already a graduate, and he still has another year after this to continue to play at Gonzaga.
Kind of a specialist for Mark Few's team, but he does his job well. And that was a huge 3. Holt passed up the long-range 3. Giusti will launch. Way short. Waldo, little shot fake. Drew a foul. Again, Waldo had a chance to make that shot. A chance for a 3-point play. Missed it. He'll shoot 2 free throws.
And Giusti's a guy, he hasn't shot a lot of threes this year, but 42% coming in. Only 21 attempts. He's gotten some good looks. Dellavedova again. You know, great team leader.
That is the 4th personal against Elias Harris, so that's big news for Gonzaga. Waldo, not a great free throw shooter, and he misses the first.
Matthew Dellavedova reads a lot of leadership type stuff, books, magazines, and one of the things he's learned to do is he encourages all his teammates. Pat on the back, the thumbs up, the fist bump. And even when they're struggling, you see him doing that out on the court. We've got a great view of that tonight. What a great teammate and great leader.
He needs to prop up his teammate Brad Waldo after 2 missed free throws there. Zags back with the ball up by 7. Pangos wanted to pull the trigger, instead trying to lead Olynyk. It's a turnover.
We talked about pick and roll right there. Pangos bothered by the show. Take a look. Hard show. Tries to make that pocket pass. Leads Olynyk too far.
59-52 Gonzaga. 5:15 to go. The turnovers at times, this is such a skilled offensive team. Gonzaga has really one of the best offenses in the country. The turnovers can be a problem.
Well, both teams really are so efficient offensively. You know, you're going to nitpick Gonzaga for a couple of things, but there aren't many.
Highest ranked team to be here in a long time. St. Mary's has never beaten a team ranked this high. Extra pass. Holt 3. No good. Pangos saves it in bounds. Another good look for St. Mary's.
Particularly on the perimeter, St. Mary's can stay aggressive with the 14 fouls.
Pangos. Tough shot again.
Those are the shots he makes.
61-52 and a whistle. There's a wet spot. They're going to stop to clean things up.
He'll take these shots in practice. He'll drive his head coach nuts. But you know what? When you think of guys like Nash, Chris Paul, Pangos, Dellavedova, you've got to be unorthodox if you're going to get those shots over the big fellas.
And Nash is his role model. He has developed a great relationship with Steve Nash, both native Canadians.
And Steve Nash now the general manager of the Canadian national team. Last summer they had a training camp for all the top players in Canada. Kevin Pangos, Kelly Olynyk, Tristan Thompson. Kevin told us number of times early in the year how much he learned from Nash.
Yeah, the two stay in touch. Steve has been very supportive of Pangos. Dellavedova, what a look for the dunk. Man, great pass.
He wasn't worried about anything but where his 4 teammates were, and he picked out the open man.
Pangos pull up 3. No good. Rebound tipped around, but Hart chases it down.
Amazing. Amazing what Mike Hart does. Used to say it went unnoticed, but it's noticed now.
Gary Bell, 3. Good.
Mike Hart gets an assist on that, even though you'll never see it in the stat sheet.
Bell's having a big second half. Gonzaga's back up by 10. Walker from the corner. No good. Levesque tip also no good. Pangos rips it away.
St. Mary's has gotten good looks. Walker's come up empty tonight behind the arc.
Well, the Gale's starting to run out of time. What a big possession that last one was. Hart, loose ball. Gary Bell, 3.
What's amazing about Mike Hart, he's playing almost 200 minutes in conference play. He's got 1 turnover.
That's almost impossible. He handles the ball here. Shot clock down to 3 now. Olynyk, extra pass, Dower at the buzzer, hits the shot.
How about that ball movement?
Timeout, St. Mary's. Gonzaga's answered the Gales' run with a run of their own, and Kelly Olynyk was the facilitator that time.
Well, a mark of a good team is to come into a place like this, get punched in the nose 2 or 3 times, get up and deliver a couple knockout blows themselves. Watch the ball movement here. Pick and roll, the pocket pass, the extra pass, and that's right in Dower's wheelhouse. That 16-footer.
Olynyk deserves to celebrate. He has played so well tonight. One of 4 games in the West Coast Conference. Portland's win at San Francisco. That's an upset. San Francisco's played pretty well. What a win for Eric Reveno in Portland. Santa Clara's a team with a lot of talent. Pieces haven't all come together for the Broncos.
Would it shock you if Santa Clara went into Las Vegas and got to the final?
It would not shock me. They nearly beat Duke at Cameron earlier this year.
Kevin Foster is the guy for them that's got to be more consistent in my mind.
Now, that may be the dark horse team in the league, and Santa Clara is still kind of lurking. Really what has happened, though, this has become a 2-team race this season. We thought at the start of the year that BYU would be in the mix, but BYU, 4 conference losses already, and they still have to come here and host Gonzaga. You said it, there is a little pocket. There are a few Zags fans, not many. But around college hoops, Fran, there got to be a lot of Kelly Olynyk fans these days because he has just made himself into one of the best players in the sport.
If you're a young big guy at the college level right now and you're not one of those one-and-done guys, why wouldn't you redshirt? They do it in football with offensive linemen all the time, right? Redshirt he changed his body around. That's probably been the biggest thing. He's a much better athlete than he was after his sophomore year. It's a great idea.
The big guys take a little longer.
Always.
Need some development time.
That redshirt year is going to make that young man a lot of money, if not this year, certainly next.
Took the long-term view, and it has paid off. Well, St. Mary's got to play with some urgency now. Down 12, under 3 to play. Gonzaga's defense has been excellent. Levesque, 3.
That makes the offense go. That's what we call spread pick and roll. 1 roller, 3 spot-up guys, and Dellavedova, the trigger man, the quarterback, the Peyton Manning.
Gonzaga, really the opposite of St. Mary's. They can be methodical. They can use the clock as an ally. Pangos with the left-hand dribble, trying to hit Olynyk. Bell off the carom. Hart with the shot clock winding down. Tough one goes.
How about Mike Hart?
That's a reward for all those loose balls tracked down.
This is the 6th time I've seen Gonzaga this year in person, and Mike Hart amazes me.
Mitchell Young rejected by Olynyk. It goes off of Giusti, out of bounds. Great defense by Kelly Olynyk. Well, Olynyk and Gonzaga, they've weathered a couple different storms here on the road. A very emotional game, spirited game, but Mark Few's group has played so well in the second half, and Gonzaga's got the lead. San Francisco, but Gonzaga showing why. The Zags are a top 5 team. They lead 68-57, a minute 57 to go here in Moraga. It has been a packed house, emotional game, but the Zags on the road have been really impressive.
You know, the Zags have had 3 or 4 really good runs. St. Mary's, a couple, just not enough to answer the call.
That number really amazing, how many threes the Gales have been forced to take. I think Gonzaga gets a lot of credit for that, the way they play defense. There's a foul against Gary Bell by Jordan Giusti. You know, you think back, and Giusti called for his 2nd personal foul. You think back, Fran, to the game at Butler, and game day was there. It was an awesome scene at Hinkle. The Zags, if they just inbound the ball correctly at the end of the game, they win that game on the road. And I think tonight they're the #1 team in the country had they won that game.
Very well could be right. The key for Gonzaga will be how they defend the terrific athletes, the Brandon Pauls. They're much more equipped to do it now than I think they even have been in the past. But you saw it. You said it. You saw it. This ball stayed in the air a long time. And Roosevelt Jones came up with it. Of course, Hinkle Fieldhouse, like McEwen, like McCarthy, a magical place, and magical night for the Butler Bulldogs.
Had that shot not gone down, and Gonzaga won that game, they'd have only 1 loss. That would have been another quality win on their resume. The way we've seen teams fall at the top of college hoops, Man, the top 10 has been so in flux. If you put Gonzaga at 24-1, I think right now they may well be.
Well, I think you're right, but we do have to, you always have to have the but. And the but is they played that monster schedule in November and December. And, when you're Michigan right now, you got 4 losses. You're talking about 4 teams ranked in the top 10, top 12. So I think this, because Mark Few won't say it, I think this is the best Gonzaga team since 2004 when they were number 2 in the country. And they certainly can get to the Final Four. I think they're equipped to do it. But they're not seeing the level of talent night in, night out like you would in a league like the Big Ten. But on the other hand, Big 12's getting better, and they're 5-0 against that league.
Yeah, and I'm not even arguing that the Zags would be the best team in the country, but I think the way voters work, I think they'd be ranked number 1. And that's never happened in Gonzaga's program history. Dellavedova being hounded by Olynyk, who's guarding the three-point line. Walker gets fouled.
That's only their 4th team foul, so not a bad foul. It's interesting. I'd have to think now, maybe the last time a team from a non-power conference was number 1, maybe UMass, Calipari's teams in the mid-90s. That's the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, Memphis, I don't know if they're, do you throw them in
Memphis
that
also,
group?
yep, both John Calipari teams.
That's right. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Dellavedova, contested shot was partially blocked and saved inbounds. Gonzaga's defense, we haven't talked enough about it probably, but their defense tonight, this is St. Mary's team that's one of the better offensive teams in the country. Gonzaga has come in here and played great D.
Well, Gary Bell's an excellent defender. Elias Harris moves his feet well. Olynyk, I think, has done a really good job. He's kind of underrated. And then how about Mike Hart, the guy that probably is their best all-around defender.
He's one of the MVPs of this game tonight. Mike Hart has played well on defense. He's hustled after loose balls, and he's made some big shots.
I was in the locker room after they beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater on New Year's Eve, and I'll never forget this. Mark Few said to me, he goes, "We are going to miss Mike Hart." That was the night he set a screen for Gary Bell, which basically iced the game. He goes, "We don't coach that. He just does things that you can't coach." And he had this look of consternation on his face. And I'm like, dude, worry about losing Elias Harris or Kelly Olynyk. He goes, "No, you don't understand. You don't know what Mike Hart does for us."
And part of that toughness edge, the free throw advantage in this game for Gonzaga.
By the way, I'm in California. That's why I dropped dude on you.
Yeah, I'm good with the dude. You see how I rolled with it? Well, it's been fun having you out here.
I've been looking forward to this for a couple weeks. And Sean Farnham, Stephen Bardo, my buddies, they get a chance to hang with you out here. And I'm having fun tonight.
It's been a good year for basketball on the West Coast. Now, the Pac-12 still, I think, doesn't get credit, but the Pac-12 has gotten much better now. They're doing the same thing we see in a lot of league play where they just start beating up on one another. We saw it again tonight. Colorado with a win against a top 10 team in Arizona.
Colorado, 5 of their last 7 are at home, so where they struggled early, Tad Boyle's team can certainly now make a run. They're in position, I think, to win 5 of these games. And
yeah, they're set up real well. I'll be in Boulder on Saturday. Arizona State, a reeling Sun Devils team. Pangos very coolly at the line. Pangos has been solid tonight.
Quietly. He's got 18, but it's been a quiet 18 to me.
Very efficient night for him. Holt, 3, no good. And Hart just outworking everybody to get that loose ball for his teammate. Here's Olynyk, the lob. Oh, Harris tried the spectacular finish, couldn't come up with it.
It's the most animated I've seen Mark Few tonight. He was not happy.
No, not really the smart play, going for the spectacular play there. Holt lost the ball on the way up. It's been that kind of night for St. Mary's.
You don't think Elias Harris is going to try to dunk that one, do you?
He got the stop sign in a major way from his head coach. Well, the final seconds are going to tick off here. St. Mary's is not going to foul. This is going to go down as not a ranked St. Mary's team. This is a very impressive Gonzaga win. Bell from the corner, exclamation point.
How about Pangos? Drive and kick. It's been fun. 2 really, really well-coached teams.
The Zags just a little too powerful here tonight, and a major win on the road. And it ends up being a win going away. Gonzaga 77, St. Mary's 60. Pangos and company can start to celebrate now as the Zags have a win that puts them very much in the driver's seat, still undefeated in WCC play as St. Mary's falls to 10-2.
St. Mary's got work left to do in terms of the NCAA tournament. Creighton coming in here, BYU, then of course the important WCC tournament for them this season.
There'll be a lot riding in Las Vegas this year, that's for sure. Frank, great having you out here in the Bay Area.
Always a pleasure, Dave. Love working with you.
Coming up next, College Basketball Live presented by Red Lobster, and the guys will have a live interview with Kelly Olynyk, so you won't want to miss it. For Fran Fraschilla, Dave Fleming, for our entire crew, saying so long from Moraga. Top 5 Gonzaga looked like it. 77-60 final score.
Zags, Gales battling for the throne atop the West Coast Conference. We'll have Kelly Olynyk live in moments. The last time Arizona played Colorado, Buffalo's game-winning buzzer beater was waved off. We've got the rematch tonight in Boulder. We've got a court storming, and on Valentine's Day, we tell you what we love the most about college hoops. We're not only talking about ex-UCLA star or Duke star.
Welcome to College Basketball Live, presented by Red Lobster.
Steve Weissman alongside Andy Katz. College Basketball Live. St. Mary's, Gonzaga. You just saw it go down first half. All about Matthew Dellavedova. He had 19 in the first half.
I tell you, Dellavedova, we talked about this off air. He's like the fighter. Mark Wahlberg just makes things happen. But Kelly Olynyk, with the long locks, finds his way to the backboard whenever he can.
Had a dozen in the first half. More from Dellavedova. 5 of 7 from deep in the first 20 minutes. Got that mouth guard. He took it out, screaming at the squad.
This was Aussies versus Canadians.
Yes, it was. Olynyk, Dellavedova. And how about a little Gary Bell Jr. as they would go on a 16-4 run, did the Zags. There's Olynyk stretching the D.
Look at how great he gets off that shot so quickly. Just one quick motion. But Gary Bell Jr. had a great night for the Zags. I mean, he finished with 20 points in this game. Really ended up being a difference maker.
And the difference also defense in the second half for Gonzaga. The block from Olynyk. Put one hand to the sky. They are your winner, sweeping the season series against St. Mary's. They win by 17 going away. So Gonzaga wins this thing, shoot 50% from the field. Junior Kelly Olynyk, 17 points, 7 rebounds, and he joins us now live on College Basketball Live. Kelly, congratulations on the win. What was the difference in the second half?
I mean, I think our defense really stepped up. We made some plays on the defensive end, and then shooters knocked down shots, and that really spread the floor for us.
Kelly, earlier on Tuesday on Cat's Corner, you joined me. You talked about how intense this rivalry was between Gonzaga and St. Mary's. How much did this game live up to that intensity?
It was huge. I mean, the fans here were going crazy. The place was packed. Dellavedova came out and really put it to us in the first half. They made some great shots, great plays, and then, like you say, it was heated on both ends.
Kelly, you sat out last year, took the red shirt. What was the biggest change for you, the biggest factor in how well you're playing right now, scoring about 18 points a game?
I think a lot of it's to do with my body. I mean, really we worked in the weight room and athletically, agility-wise, and I think that's helping me get to where I want to go and really able to make shots inside.
Well, Kelly, you still haven't gotten rid of that cough. You had it on Tuesday. You're able to play through it here tonight on Thursday night, and you guys are now number 5 in the country. There are teams that have been losing above you. What do you think it would mean to this team and this program if Gonzaga at some point this season can be the number 1 team in the country?
I mean, it'd be huge. I mean, Gonzaga's never been there before, so that'd be big for us, big for our program, big for our school. And if it happens, great. If not, I mean, we'll do with what we have.
Kelly, there was a moment in the first half where you lost your headband. The hair was going all over the place. You put it on your wrist. Take us through that sequence.
I must have got hit in the head if it came off somehow. And it was on the ground. And I think one of their players tried to not let me pick it up. But I put it on my wrist. I just put the hair behind my ears and went for it.
And Kelly, there's obviously a good chance that you may meet the Gales again a third time, potentially, in Las Vegas at the Orleans Arena. Last season, they played 3 times, and the Zags lost to St. Mary's. If you guys meet a third time in Las Vegas, what would you have to do to knock them out 3 times?
I mean, it's going to be defense again. We're winning on the defensive end right now, and I'm sure we'll meet them there. They're a great team, and they've had a great season so far. So I think it'll be a huge rivalry, and I expect to meet them there in Vegas.
All right, Kelly Olynyk, congratulations on the season thus far, the win tonight, joining us here on College Basketball Live. Get better, get that cold better, and we'll speak with you soon.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Get that cough Tuesday.
Yeah, well, you still got it today. I mean, that's what happens when you score 17 points in Moraga. Well, here's how the standings are. Gonzaga stranglehold on the WCC once again. They sweep St. Mary's 11-0 in conference play.
And here's the opening for the Zags, because Duke and Miami play one more time, and there's a chance they may play again in the ACC tournament. So it may be hard for Duke and Miami both to be #1 seeds. That could be the opening needed for Gonzaga to slip in as one of the 4.
The only issue right now, that strength of schedule rated 67. Some people talk about that.
Who are these people?
Well, you know.
Name them.
College basketball folk.